I remember feeling powerful once. In the first grade, I was the class president. Back then, I knew exactly what power was. It was having all the kids like you, girls and boys, all the different colors. Well, enough to get the most votes anyway. The kids liked me because they weren't afraid of me and I wasn't afraid of them. No matter who we were or where we came from, we just wanted to watch Super Friends and play kick the can and go outside and catch fireflies after dusk. We all just wanted to be together. But first grade had to come to an end. And power took a new face. Power took the face of Kara. Kara's face looked nothing like mine. Her face was the color of peaches and cream with the exact right amount of freckles. Her hair was the perfect shade of brown with the perfect amount of wave, just enough so it didn't fall dead on her face, but not too much to fear that frizzy white girl fro. Kara never had to use a hot comb. Everybody in 5th grade liked how Kara looked, girls, boys, all different colors. I could never be powerful like Kara, so I hated her. Power had the face of Christine. Christine's face looked a lot more like mine, but our houses looked different. The house I lived in was bigger than hers, so I wasn't black enough. She decided that for me. She decided that she deserved to have the brand new mirrored sunglasses with the red rims that I got for my 12th birthday, so she took them. I decided to be scared of her, so I let her have them. I could never be powerful like Christine, so I hated her. I want to go back to being the class president. Back when I liked what powerful meant. I would take the job very seriously now. I'd be a master of diplomacy, listening to the needs and concerns of all of my classmates and drafting legislation that would keep us safe from harm and able to play Super Friends as long as we wanted. I wouldn't have time to hate Kara or Christine because I would be too busy tending to my own power to feel threatened by theirs. I'd be too busy with my book because every good president gets a book deal. I would need that time to write my own story. I would need that time to promote it. I would need that time to take center stage and recreate myself once again. Thank you. So when I have to figure out how to describe what I do, which is a combination of summer arts camp, social emotional development, social innovation stuff for girls. Girls empowerment often comes up as a key tag or a descriptor. And I'm not really comfortable with that term all the time because to me it evokes the image of kids just kind of sitting there without any agency whatsoever until like some superhero teaching artist, youth worker like me jumps in and says, ta-da, you have exactly what you need to go on and be powerful in your life. And as we know from working with young people is that they come to us with a lot of power. And it's up to us to help them figure out what kind of powerful they want to be. And I would like to, I think that, it's all about choices. And earlier, the very first speaker, Pedro, said that this is about challenging, talked about challenging the paradigm. And so to me, when I work with young people and I think about, okay, what kind of powerful do you want to be? It's about changing the paradigm. A good friend of mine who is a hip-hop artist, he and also a youth worker running a youth program here in San Francisco, he had this quote earlier this week that I love. He says, "The game is in danger. Being creative and proactive is dangerous to these people." So I'm wondering, are you ready to get a little dangerous with me right now? Yes, thank you. Okay, good. So let's get a little dangerous. Larry, here we go. So I feel like not a lot has changed since the 70s and 80s when I was a kid trying to figure out what kind of powerful I wanted to be. At the same time, it feels like so much has changed. The levels of bullying and disconnection and disengagement and overconsumption and paralyzing perfectionism and distrust in our society are astounding to me. And this is what our young people and what our girls are facing. And I feel like with all of these forces that our children are facing, I feel like what's ultimately happening is that our society is suffering from an extreme compassion deficit. And in a society like this, how do our kids choose what kind of powerful they want to be in light of this compassion deficit? So back in 2008, I attended a seminar about compassion at the Greater Good Science Center in Berkeley, UC Berkeley. And the speaker was the psychologist, the famous psychologist Paul Ekman, who talked about the work he was doing with the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama, who says, the most important problem our world faces is a lack of compassion. And compassion is the prerequisite for building a happy individual and a happy society. Compassion, the way I describe it for kids, is loving all of life, including yourself, no matter what. And so I was really moved by our speakers, our transitional youth speakers, who talked about what we want. What we want is love. And that's really what we're talking about. So the way I would describe non-cognitive skill development is a compassion revolution, is what I'm looking for. I knew in that moment that all the work I had done over the years had suddenly a laser beam focus. I said, aha, I'm here to help ignite a compassion revolution. And that's what I'm going to bring you through right now. What that means to me is that Dacher Keltner, who's from the Greater Good Science Center, he says that our society has a cultural war on compassion. And I actually would agree with that. I think that we tend to forget that as human beings, we actually are quite aligned towards connection and towards love. And instead, we believe that we are very competitive and aggressive. And I believe, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. Okay, ready? Dangerous. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the reason why there is a cultural war on compassion is because there is a cultural war on women and girls. Let me explain. So, here we have, in any healthy, balanced society, there's a balance of forces, a balance of competition and cooperation. There's a balance of independence. I'm just pressing buttons. There you go. There's a balance of independence and interdependence. There's a balance of exploration and caretaking. And in earlier societies, when the male realm and the female realm were more specifically defined, and the female realm was subjugated to a less than position, then we started to get out of balance. And we started to collectively, as a society, experience overwhelming violence and stress and anxiety and disconnection. And I believe that if we help women and girls share the stage as leaders in our society, we put ourselves a little bit back into balance, igniting the compassion revolution that all of us are looking for. Are you with me? All right. I told you, a little dangerous. Let's see where we are now. So, the thing about this is there's research that's been done that shows also that potentially women and girls are well equipped to lead a revolution of this kind. Now, let me stop for a second and say that I understand that any research that shows differences between girls and boys beyond the biological or any kind of single-sex programming or education is totally controversial, and I get that. I mean, I came up in the 70s with Free to Be You and Me, and everybody can be anything they want to be, and it's really tricky when you start to say, well, girls are like this and boys are like this, because we kind of get into that less than position and start to think that boys can't do something or girls can't do something, and that's really problematic, I understand. At the same time, we see things. We work with young people, and we see that there are differences. And science does see things. So they look at how little kids play, and how little girls kind of play in a more social way that says that shows, and whereas boys kind of just play at each other, girls kind of more play with each other, which they call a female advantage in empathizing. Daniel Goleman, who brought us the whole idea of emotional intelligence, talks about the different brains of men and women, and says that women will do that, like when someone is feeling hurt, or there's an emotional, a challenging emotion in front of them, women's brains will stick to that emotion a little bit longer, where men's kind of stick on it and then come off of it and try to solve the problem, and how both of those things have their advantages. Some people are laughing because we know that that's true. Okay, so my question to you then is, okay, so why girls? Why work with girls to ignite this compassion revolution? And I wonder, what if we women and girls truly owned how powerful we were emotionally? What if what wasn't an insult to be called emotional or dramatic or simply a girl if you show any vulnerability whatsoever? What would that do for the social emotional health of all of us, girls and boys in this society? Those are the kind of questions that I ask in my work with girls. So also in 2008, my partner in life and business, Allison Kenny, and I founded Go Girls by accident. That summer, our Glitter and Razz summer theater camp in Oakland for elementary school kids had 17 kids sign up, and just by happenstance, all of them were girls that summer. So we decided, okay, let's go with that theme. And so we make up plays, the kids create the plays together, and we said the theme this summer is about the magic and power of being a girl. And it was such a successful summer that we said, next year, would you come back to this same girl theater program? And everyone was like, yes, please, gosh. Okay, so now here we are in 2013, and this summer we expect to serve between 300 and 400 girls in Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley, and we have a new program starting in Santa Cruz. In addition to our summer camps, we also are igniting a compassion revolution by producing shows and retreats for girls and their families. We do parent and professional development education with people about how to become a girl advocate. And in February, we're actually about to publish our very first book written by Allison called Starring Celia, which is a book for children. And it's a chapter book about the adventures of a fictional 4th grade girl. So that's who we are. Okay, so we believe that we are in a place to just bet that the research about girls is true. And we want to really embrace the idea that we are emotional superheroes. So we want to help girls use their powers of emotion for good rather than for evil, which you've also seen. Yes? That's what happens. That's what happens when you get disconnected from your power. In a way, you start to use it in weird ways. And that's what happens with a relational aggression. That's what happens with bullying, right? So we've done all kinds of we've done all kinds of research and read a lot of books and do a lot of curriculum, look at curriculum, and we've zeroed in on 3 different curriculum partners for our work. One is Kid Power. They're based out of Santa Cruz, and they are the most accessible, practical way to teach kids safety skills, ranging from anything from how to encounter a stranger on the street to how to encounter a bully in your schoolyard. We also work with Dr. Christine Carter, who comes from the Greater Good Science Center. She's a sociologist, and she actually does a lot of work around parent education. Her book's called Raising Happiness, and it's about supporting parents to teach their kids the skills of a happy life. So we use that work in our staff training and adapt a lot of her research into programming for our girls about generosity and gratitude and components of happiness like that. And finally, we work with a woman named Vicky De La Gioia, who is a teacher of mine. She's a Qigong master teacher from Oakland. And one of the key foundations of her method, called the Way of Joy, is the idea that boundaries dissolve barriers. Isn't that super cool? So the idea that if I am strong, am I growing strong inside in myself physically and emotionally and spiritually, I can encounter any of you at any time, no matter what kind of crap you're throwing at me. And so no longer do I have to hate the Karas and Christines because I have my inner strength. So that's what we kind of teach the girls from the Way of Joy. This last year or so, we've been working in partnership with Glenview Elementary School in Oakland, California, public school, who has used Go Girls as a key strategy for activating compassion on their school campus. So here we are coming out of the summer program into an in-school situation, trying to figure out, okay, so we have to get really clear on what skills it is we're teaching. And I think we got pretty clear on those skills. Well, I'm not going to read them all, but you can kind of see the types of skills that we're working through with these young people. And what's so funny is that, we're all here today trying to figure out what are these skills called and how do we teach them. And a lot of times, I don't know if you've noticed this, but so many of these skills, we just assume that, first of all, we don't think that they're skills. We think that young people are just going to pick them up, over time, just because they're getting older, just because they're, paying attention to us. Because we're so good at these things, right? So a lot of these skills have been said before, this idea of growth mindset, mistakes are part of learning, really practical ways to manage their conflicts, the skills of imagination and empathy. Thank you. So I'm glad I have 3 minutes. That's good, thank you. So, how do we teach these skills? We teach these skills through theater. That's how we teach, and expressive arts. I have been doing theater as a practitioner since I was 5 years old. I've been teaching it since I was 18 years old, so for 5 years. To me, so I'm biased, but to me it's the most, I don't know, there's no better medium, in my opinion, than theater and the arts to teach these skills. And I was kind of looking through the learning after school principles, and they're so clear. Theater's been used all over the world to build community. It's collaborative, it's multidisciplinary. Theater literally cannot happen, it cannot exist unless there are people sharing the same space at the same time, which is unique as an art form. When girls are going through the process of being in creating one of our plays, they are imagining themselves as anyone or anything. One of our rules is that you can be anything you want. We always start with character in our plays. So the girls pick a character and we go from there. So they get to be whoever they want to be. They are sharing their voices, their bodies, their imagination. That's the 3 tools of the actor, for those of you who do theater. They are going through the process of making something, practicing it, making a mistake, getting feedback, practicing again, et cetera, until they have something that they feel proud to share with a loving audience, be witness for their work, and then that audience is also transformed by the experience. We have parents weeping at the end. One thing, last summer, one of the grandmoms came to me afterwards and said, "Oh my gosh, I thought that my kid was just in a camp," which was my favorite. It's one of the best testimonials, right? So I had a little video, but I'm not going to have time for that. Show 30 seconds of it, I guess.
3. I have the power to solve problems.
And think? Everyone say, I have the power to think.
I have the power to think. I am proud, so
Can I say one last thing? I just want to say that I'm so thankful to Sam for having me be here, and I'm so thankful to all of you for daring to get a little dangerous with me. I feel like if we can, all of us, really embrace our capacity to be emotional superheroes, we can really ignite a compassion revolution that won't just change the lives of individual people, but it'll change all of our communities. And all of us will benefit, girls and boys. Thank you.